Yeah. But maybe, I guess there a big influence also were maybe like Terry Riley, minimalist music.
Oh yeah, Rainbow and Curved Air.
Yeah.
Oh, I played the grooves off that album over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like sequencer music in a way, with all of these interesting time signatures. Yeah. Well, it's great to reminisce with you, Michael.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know if there was a lot of that around. There's one particular album, I just remembered it when I was letting my thoughts flow about what we would be speaking today. And it wasn't an early experience for me. It was Tibetan bells.
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with that? I think it was
sure.
a couple who did them. And
Nancy Hennings, and
yes.
I can't remember the other chap's name.
And it was so interesting because the bells with a long sustain sounded like synthesizers, but were no synthesizer. It was acoustic, but it had this otherworldly vibe about it, I think. That surreal kind of listening experience. And
well, those were, those sounds, like after a while at Continuum, we had a set of those bells. This was before the Tibetan Bells album was released, maybe several years before. But I think a lot of people were exploring with those sounds. I had a friend by the name of John Gibbons, and he created these installations in public parks in Los Angeles where he would go to scrap yards and he would buy different pieces of metal that were not being used, some of them huge, that would all have this sound like the bells, like the Tibetan bells or the Nepalese bells. And he would set them up in parks, and kids could come through and play them. And we had some things in the studio at Continuum, and I've always had, like now I have a bunch of Tibetan singing bowls here, and also these crystal bowls that they make. I have a whole set of the crystal bowls that have this incredible resonance to them. And there's something about that resonance that is, people use it a lot for meditation and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's always been, it's an amazing sonic zone that again creates that inner space for the listener.
Yeah. Speaking of acoustic timbres and big metal things, another very unique instrument that you are using is the sound beam.
Yeah, the beam. Yeah.
The beam. The
beam was, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask, when did you start to use that, and what's the story behind that?
That was at Continuum also.
Also, okay.
At the time that I was creating not Ancient Leaves, Planetary Unfolding, there was a fellow by the name of Francisco Lupica, and he had a number of beams, and he was doing live performances, and he called it the Cosmic Beam Performance. And Craig Huxley, who I've talked about earlier, he and I went to a performance, I think it was in Ocean Park, by the ocean in Los Angeles, in between Santa Monica and Venice. And we heard Francisco play, and it was just amazing. Francisco had these very long beams that were made out of iron, cast iron. And so Craig got the idea, hey, why don't we build some beams ourselves? Except let's make them out of extruded aluminum instead of iron, so that they're easier to move. It doesn't take 4 people to pick it up and move it.
I see.
One person or 2 persons could move it. So Craig got Paul Abel, who's another composer. I produced an album for Paul involved. And Paul is really good with working with anything, metal, wood. And I guess it was Paul or maybe Craig and Paul, I don't know. They went to a metal yard somewhere in LA and bought a whole lot of this aluminum, like 14, 15 foot sections of this aluminum, extruded aluminum C-beam is what it's called. And then Paul innovated this way to make them like Francisco's, where he would put the falcon wood at one end, which is what is used in a piano tuning board, and then the piano tuning pegs in it, and then he would run the piano wire, because it's actually piano wire which comes on big rolls or reels. He would run it down to one end, tie it around or circle it around, and then run it back up to another tuning peg, and then creating pickups, because it's really it needs a magnetic pickup the way electric guitar or bass guitar does. So he created pickups using, winding the magnets with the wire and then putting them in milk cartons and filling up the milk cartons with some sort of epoxy kind of substance. And then you take away the milk carton, and then you've got this big pickup that would fit underneath the strings. And it was basically doing a similar thing to what Francisco was doing with his long ones, except ours are shorter. I think Craig's was a 14 footer, and the one I built is a 12 foot one with Paul's help. And these, of course, were originally created by a fellow by the name of John Lazelle in Santa Barbara, California. And I think Francisco probably saw John's or whatever and created his, and then Mickey Hart from the Grateful Dead created. He had a couple too, also made out of iron. So there's a kind of a history that goes back to it. Francisco, turned us on to it. But the beams were at Continuum for probably the last 2 years, probably 1979, 70, 80, something like that. So I was starting to incorporate them in my music at that time. And it was right, I think maybe the beam is what gave George Landry the idea to create the big lyra harp that I was talking about a little while ago.
Okay, I see.
Except instead of 24 strings, they had 156 strings, and it took up an entire room. So the beam, I still use that to this day. It's sitting here in the studio. And I've just recently been working on a set of music for a tour, and unfortunately, the beam is, it's 12 foot long. It's very hard to move around.
I see.
I can move it around Santa Fe, but to take it with me on the road would be really difficult.
I see.
So I've sampled it. I've created very iconic sounds which I create on the beam, and then I've turned them into samples. And I can trigger the samples with my electric guitar, so I can play the electric guitar as though I'm playing a guitar, but then there's big sounds of the beam are coming out. It's really amazing.
Wonderful. I wondered, is it because it's so big? Is it hard to tune, or is it?
No, it's tuned. I think all of us who use the beam. I've tried tuning it in many different ways, but what I come back to is just tuning it as like every string is the same note.
I see.
And in this case, it's C. It's a C. It's tuned to C, low C, like C2 maybe, or C1 or C2. And the thing is, if you have 24 strings all tuned to the same note, but each one is a few cents off from each other, that's what gives it the sound. It's like there's this really deep, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so wonderful. But it's like all the strings that are just very slightly out of tune with each other. We're not resonating at the same frequency. Creates this texture, this low frequency texture, which is just wonderful.
I think I remember two other musicians who talked about that, and I happened to have that experience too when I was younger. If you have a piano, a grand piano, and just put your foot on the sustain pedal and play like big chords, and then listen to the reverb. I can't pronounce
the resonance.
The resonance, like and if you listen closely and are in a meditative mindset, you start to hear all the overtones and how complex everything is layered, and it's something I really could connect to. And I used to be a big fan of Deep Purple, and their keyboarder John Lord. He had a leaning towards classical music and was composing in that style too. And I think one of the orchestral works he wrote late in his life is dedicated to this experience, and it's actually called "In the Boom of the Tingling Strings."
Wow.
So maybe that's a good expression to describe that. I guess I could.
Yeah. So is that recording available, like on the?
Yeah, it's an album.
It's an album. Okay. I'm not familiar with it. I got to listen to it now.
It's from his late work, so maybe only John Lord fans who followed him. I don't think it's 10 years. Maybe he passed away at some point, and I don't know if it was his last album or the one before. But you can find it on YouTube.
The Beam kind of evolved into Lyra, which was the big 156-string engine. And when the Beam, I think it was, Lyra was 1983, and then at some point in 1983, I was contacted by a producer about this movie that are you familiar with the movie Koyaanisqatsi?
I have to admit that I never watched it completely, but I know about it and I saw some bits of it. I still need to. It's by music by Philip Glass, isn't it?
Music by Philip Glass. Godfrey Reggio is the director, and there were two people at the time who were living here in Santa Fe. Ron Fricke, he was the cinematographer for Koyaanisqatsi, and Alton Walpole. Both are close friends of mine, and I was contacted by a producer in 1983. Koyaanisqatsi had come out, I think, 2 years earlier, to see if I would be interested in scoring a film for an IMAX film, which ended up being called Chronos. Yeah. And at the time, I was working with Maurice Jarre, Jean-Michel Jarre's father.
Wow!
And he was scoring. I was working at Craig's studio, and Maurice had 4 films he was scoring back to back, and so I worked with Maurice for 2 years, mostly engineering all of the sessions at Craig's studio, and so I got to know Maurice really well. In a way, he was like a surrogate musical father for me. And at the end of that 2 years, I was offered this project, which ended up being called Chronos. So that was kind of the reason I'm going into Chronos is the Beam plays a big part in Chronos.
Okay, I see.
I don't know if you're familiar with the movie, but there's it's like Koyaanisqatsi and later Baraka and Samsara. Yeah. It's a nonverbal film, so it's just picture time-lapse cinematography and music. Yeah. And so when I got to one of the sequences as I was scoring that film, I think it was Pompeii. There's a sequence around Pompeii. And it's interesting because Pink Floyd did their whole live performance in Pompeii. Yeah. I scored the whole thing with the Beam, and it's probably the most musical use of the Beam I've ever heard by me or anybody else. Okay. It's if you want to hear the Beam used really musically, that's a good place to go for that.
Actually,
It was a great. Go ahead. It was a great score in that it was my first big solo score that I got to do, and they hadn't filmed any of it except some test films, some test footage, and so I got to go see the test footage, and then Ron and Alton and the crew, Stephen Marble, they went out to shoot the movie.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, we're going to be back in 3 months and we need a soundtrack. We need a score.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Yep.
Excuse me. I just, the camera just turned off.
Oh, it's, what kind of camera is it?
It's my smartphone.
Oh, it's your smartphone.
The other camera already said goodbye. So I just activated this one again.
Okay. Some of the cameras will only go for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Like Sony SLRs or whatever, they will only record for 30 minutes. So
yes.
And they start to get hot and they shut off.
In the beginning, I watched it all the time to not miss the point when it goes off. But your stories were so captivating that I at some point forgot to look at it. So, but excuse me.
It's okay. What was I? I was talking about Chronos. And
only test footage.
Yeah. So they said we're coming back in 3 months, and we want you to write all the music so that when we come back, we can take the picture that we've filmed and edit it to your music. And I was like, okay, wow. So I had a 2-inch 16-track recorder, and I just sat down, and for 3 months I wrote 45 minutes of music continuously. There's no breaks in it. It just starts, and then 45 minutes later it ends. Are you familiar with the Chronos music, the Chronos soundtrack?
Yes, I just listened to it recently. Yeah. I don't know it by heart, but I enjoyed it a lot too. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Good. So that was, and at one point I got about halfway through while I was writing the music, the director called me from, I can't remember what country they were in because they traveled around the world filming it. And he said, I want you to come to Egypt because we're going to be filming in Egypt next week. And I want you to come to Egypt so that you can kind of get a sense, because the title of the film's Chronos. It's about time and the way time streams in different ways. And he said, Cairo is a perfect city for you to get a sense of that. So my wife and I actually flew together to Cairo. And it was amazing. He was so right, because you land in a jet airplane, you land in Cairo, and then you go into the city, and it's this big, big city, and there's, like we'd be driving through the city, and we get stuck in this traffic jam, and everybody's honking at each other, and then you look down. I turn my head and I look down a side street, and going by on a different street would be a herd of camels. So you're in the middle of this big city, and you turn your head and there's herd of camels going by, one street away. And then we would go, we went to the pyramids, and so you have the Sphinx is at one time frame, and then the pyramids are at another time frame. Then you have this big city, and yet there's camels going on in the city, and there's the call to prayer going on, and there's big jet planes landing. And it really did. Ron was right. It gave me this sense of this different strata of time. And so then, for the next 6 weeks, when I went back to work on finishing up the score, it was like it just gave me then these, because I'd been writing a melody for each section. I didn't, even though I couldn't see the picture, he had said, well, we're going to have one section. It's going to be shot in Italy and this other country. And so that's going to be kind of this kind of energy, and then another section. So I've been kind of writing the music kind of organically became these different sections. But once I'd been to Egypt, I realized there were melodies that, even though some of them were in slightly different keys, they all came together in like one overall fabric, like what you were talking about. It's like
Yeah.
like a big fabric, and there's all these threads in the fabric, and
Yeah.
somehow they all make this one picture, but they're different streams. So it became, by the time I got to the end, the last movement, which is the big movement, it's like all of the melodies come back and they're playing together in the last movement.
Yeah.
And it was like, I couldn't have thought of doing this. Like, I couldn't have thought, oh, I'm going to do that, you know.
Yeah.
It's the way it came out. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But next time when I listen to the album, I will keep in mind what you said about it. And yeah.
So, you know, that, because that was an IMAX film, really big screen film. And once people, like other producers and things, started seeing that movie, I started to get a lot of work writing music and producing soundtracks for IMAX. So for a series of years, from like 1986 through 1992, most of the work I did some solo albums during that time. Like I did Encounter and, you know, a number of different albums. But I was also doing a lot of soundtrack work, doing mostly IMAX films, although some feature film work too. So I kind of dove in at that point starting with Chronos in 1985, and then I didn't really come up for air again until I moved here to Santa Fe in 1992. And then I started doing less and less of that kind of work, and focusing on other things. Because that kind of work is really kind of LA kind of work. So living in LA, that was the flow of, you know, of that work. You know, get up at, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you have breakfast, and then you work until maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have something, and then you work till 10 o'clock at night, and then you go to the sushi bar, and you have some sushi, and then you work till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then you go to sleep, and you get up at 10 o'clock the next morning. Crazy kind of life.
But I get it's one way to earn a living as a musician.
Yeah, definitely.
Which maybe is better for that than meditation music, probably.
Yeah, especially if you live in a big city and you have a high overhead. And at that point, I had a big, beautiful studio with a couple of 2-inch 24-track recorders and big mixing console, and you know, all of that stuff costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And once I moved to Santa Fe, everything started slimming down, and also it was moving right up until I moved to Santa Fe, and through the first couple of years I was here in Santa Fe, I was still using analog equipment up through maybe 1994, 1995. I still had a 2-inch 24-track tape recorder and a big analog mixing console, and then things slowly started turning digital, and most of my work, you know, became using digital production equipment, music equipment, that sort of thing. Synthesizers started being available as digital synthesizers, and sampling started. You know, I remember my first sampler, an old Roland S7 something or rather, with floppy disk, and you could only record like 3 seconds at a time.
I remember those. Yeah. So when I think another thing that you did was music for installations. I think you mentioned installations a couple of times now. So was it, how did that come about? Was it rather that you got offers for installations via the film music connections, or was it its own path parallel to the film movie world?
You know, it's all of it's like things. I think most people who are doing music, or I mean, the music world has changed so radically from that period of my life, and because of the internet and all of the different kinds of opportunities, but these opportunities also make it perhaps much harder to have a musical unfolding the way my musical unfolding went.
Yeah.
You know, I would have to say the installations, you know, I honestly don't know. I mean, what was it that led me or created the context for me to be in that meditation group back in 1975 with Gary playing the Mini Moog and this music that I knew so well from a 1958 album that this jazz guy had created, and then getting to Continuum, and then, you know, meeting Craig Huxley, and then getting an invitation into my first, you know, film work, and then, you know, some of those early albums, you know, different parts of them, they get heard by,
artists,
you know, big film directors, like, I'm trying to think of the names, like Cameron, like James Cameron, you know. It's like for Titanic, you know, some of my music is used in Titanic. Well, how did that happen? Well, he heard some of my music and he liked it, and so, you know, it got used.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like somehow the evolution of my music just seems to happen organically. And so how it got used in installations or how that started, I really don't know. Somebody heard something and thought, hey, this guy could do music for installations pretty well, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mystery to me. It's not like I went and knocked on doors of people who are doing installations and said, hey, listen to my music. It just, all along, it's been a very organic process.
I see.
You know, that's what led me to doing Chronos. Was Ron and Alton had been working on Koyaanisqatsi.
Yeah.
And somehow my music had come up, Planetary Unfolding and Ancient Leaves, because its repetitiveness, which was very much like Philip Glass's repetitiveness.
Yeah,
the work I did with the Contala, somehow that led these people to call me up to work to score Chronos, you know, and then Chronos led to doing a film by called The Seasons, which was another IMAX film by Ben Shedd, you know, and that led to doing 10 films for McGilvery Freeman, and, you know, and it's like, so how did all that happen? I don't know. I don't know. It just...
But was it rather that you, in the case of the installations, that others offered you the jobs, or was it like you yourself had a wish, or I could do music for an installation, and you were looking for an opportunity?
No, it didn't happen that way. It just somebody else thought it would be good. No, it's I don't know. You know, I've had a lot of ideas of things that were like kind of things that I'd like to do as an installation or this or that, or a movie I'd like to create, but I haven't had the space in my life to do any of that.
Yeah.
It's almost always been, I mean, I have the space to do my own albums.
Yeah.
You know, and COVID actually, as terrible as the global health crisis was, it gave myself and I think a lot of other creative people a space, because we are, we can't really go out, we can't do anything, we can't be in groups of people. All of the other kind of work, film work, whatever, is completely dried up. Nobody's going out on tour, nobody's performing live. You can't get together in groups. So what do? Well, you sit in your studio and you write new music.
Yeah.
So for 3 years, you know, I wrote 3 albums during COVID, and I haven't even released any of them yet. They probably this next year, 2026, I will start releasing them.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like it was a terrible thing, but it was also a opportunity for many people to be creative in ways that, you know, we hadn't been creative in years and years.
It was the same for me actually, and I felt a kind of it was an I felt kind of bad about it, like having a bad conscience, right? About having an opportunity where others, I don't know, suffer, or the whole society is paralyzed or something like that. But it had positive aspects, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was actually in Germany when COVID started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whereabouts in Germany are you? I think you told me at one point.
I'm living near Mainz, which is near Frankfurt.
Near Frankfurt, yes. I've been
originally
through the train station there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've changed from the icy train to the local S-Bahn, I think there, a number of times, going to Heilbronn, where I did the Experimenta project.
Yeah.
But I was in Frankfurt, not in Hamburg, mixing a film when it first started, and then I went down to Berlin to see my friend Christian Halton. And have you met Christian? Did I introduce you to Christian? No.
Only on Facebook.
Only on Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. After I discovered him via your collaboration. You did an album together, and then I was curious and Googled him too, and saw he was on Facebook, and just.
Yeah. So anyway, I was stuck. Yeah. My wife and I were stuck in Berlin, for a month, and then we got the last flight out back to the United States, or the second to the last flight out.
Yeah.
Christian is an interesting guy. You know, I met him. He's one of these people that he sent me an email many years ago, and I get emails all the time, and from fans or whatever, and it's like some of them I connect with, some of them I don't. But Christian, I connected with his email so deeply for some reason that I immediately sent him an email back, and he was in LA doing something, and then he flew to Santa Fe. It was just like, wow, this guy just flew to Santa Fe. Yeah. And we spent several days together and just had a wonderful time. And then he came to Santa Fe again at some point. And then, you know what the NAMM show is?
Yes.
In Anaheim, it's the National Association of Musical Instrument Manufacturers. Big show they have every year with all the musical instrument manufacturers. He was working at the Buchla booth, the Buchla synthesizer booth. Okay, and I flew to LA to Orange County to go to NAMM, and he was there, and we spent several days together, had a wonderful time. Yeah. And then I was offered, right in the middle of the COVID thing, I was offered a project in Germany at the Experimenta complex in Heilbronn with their big dome there. It's a huge dome, one of the largest in Europe, with 25-channel immersive sound system and 3D projection on the dome. So the last 4 years, maybe, I've gone back and forth to Germany many times, traveling from Frankfurt through Mannheim to Heilbronn. And every time I would go, Christian and I always wanted to do an album together. But we didn't want to do it remotely. Like I've done remote albums with Steve Roach and with Erik Wöllo and other people. And it's been wonderful to be able to work that way with the help of the internet. And but we really wanted to do it in person. And it was actually his idea, Christian's idea. And so when I would go to work at Heilbronn, we would spend 4 or 5 days in a hotel room, either in Frankfurt or in Heilbronn, or one time it was in Stuttgart, in a couple of other cities. So we would each take some musical instruments. I would bring a synthesizer in the butt, usually the little ASM Hydrasynth, the little one, the Explorer, put it in the bottom of a suitcase. He would arrive on the train, he'd have these big bags. He'd bring an electric guitar. He would bring, synthesizers in bags. And he'd get off the train and it'd be like, whoa. And we go into the hotel room and we set up a studio in the hotel room. And we had 4 or 5, sessions, week sessions on different trips that I would take there, and we would record 3 or 4 pieces of music each session. And on one of the trips, we were in Frankfurt, recording in Frankfurt, and we took a tram to go to the big music store there. Can't remember the name of the store. They have one in Berlin I'd been to also. At any rate,
music store. There's one actually called Music Store.
Yeah, it's called Music Store. Yeah. That's right. It's a big, huge store, 3 stories and all musical instruments. The one in Cologne is bigger. The one in Cologne is like 5 stories high. We went to the last time we were in Cologne when we recorded together, and we went to that store. But anyway, we went to the store, and as we were driving, as we were on the tram going, we came through one tram stop, and there was this huge blue billboard. And there were, on the billboard in German was written, "Sounds searching for people." Nothing else on this huge blue billboard with just "Sounds searching for people."
Okay.
And we looked at it, and he said, "Do you know what that says?" I said, "No." He says, "That says, in German, it says sounds searching for people." And we looked at each other, and it's like, that's got to be the name of our album.
Wow.
So that's how we named the album. And now you can get the first version, we recorded a lot of music, so there's actually 2 albums, and the first one is available now on Bandcamp. And it's just called Sounds Searching for People.
I actually bought that one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and now I see, because you mentioned that the blue board, like the cover art, maybe reflects that, because it's also blue, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. But by the way, I wondered, is it your face?
My face, yeah.
It's your face. I didn't recognize it at the first time, but when the last time I looked at it, I thought, no, that's it's Michael himself there.
Yeah, we were actually in Heilbronn, and there's a big science center, the Experimenta Science Center, and on one of the floors they have one of those things with the little metal rods, except it's the size, instead of a little face one like some of them have, it's the size of a whole person. And so I stepped into it so that I was making, on the other side it makes your shape, and then Christian took pictures of it, and that's how that came out.
It looks digital.
It's not digital.
It looks like it's made by, I don't know, a computer.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, yeah. And did you ever find out what that big sign in Germany was about?
No.
At all?
No. It's like it was put there just for us. Who would put this big blue billboard there with white letters that say "Sound Searching for People" and nothing else? Nothing that says where did it come from, who put it there, just the big blue space.
Wonderful. So you've been very active lately with a lot of music that you recorded and not even released yet. Yeah. And you also are touring at the moment?
I was going to be touring this fall, and the tour has been postponed now till next year. So I've been working for the last several months, setting up, different kinds of setups. So 2 years ago I performed with Steve Roach and Robert Rich in, no, it was actually last year, in Tucson. It was kind of a reunion of the 3 of us, and Steve had organized it, and it was wonderful. But it was the first time I played live in a long time. So then I started thinking about, I took too much equipment this time. How am I going to refine that? And maybe a month later or 2 months later, I performed in Albuquerque, and so I had refined the system, and then I performed again in Tucson in January of this, or February of this year, and I refined the system even more. That recording is actually available on Bandcamp, and there's also a video was made, a live stream was made of that.
Was it the event organized by Katie?
Yeah, Katie Estrella,
Estrella.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who helped us to get into touch.
Oh, she was. Oh, great.
She was, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I I had asked her for an interview, and she said yes. And then a few days later, she wrote, "Oh, maybe you would want to do an interview with Michael Stearns instead." And I said, "Well, it would be wonderful, but I have no idea if Michael is interested in that." And she offered, I think she asked your wife and suggested it. And so, so
she and my wife are good friends, actually. We're going to go to Tucson. I think we leave on the 5th of February here in like 2 weeks. And we'll be there for a week. And Katie is actually performing. She's a wonderful performer with another synthesist, and their music is just incredible. It's amazing. Yeah. So I haven't heard her live, but this will be the first opportunity I've had to hear her perform.
Yeah, I think it's also what she's doing. What's the name called?
Solar culture. Solar culture.
It's also very like a spiritual place, I guess. So maybe that's something it has in common with those yoga classes and meditation classes where you started at.
Yeah. They have sound healings there. They have many different kinds of events there at Solar Culture. But since January, I've been thinking about, okay, how would I refine the live performance even more?
Yeah.
And explore new territory, sort of new musical territory. Yeah. So I was offered this tour, a rather intense tour, 4 weeks, 4 nights a week, each night in a different venue. And it's a fellow who has this organization called the Ambient Church. And Steve Roach has performed there, Robert Rich has performed there, Laraji has performed for them. Yeah. And they're going out on a new tangent because those were always one-of-a-kind performances, and they decided they wanted to start tours. So Robert went out on a very short tour in October. Is that right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
And that went pretty well. But then they realized that there was a lot more to touring that they needed to learn about or to educate themselves about or to set up differently. Yeah. So rather than have me go out for 4 weeks, they've decided they're still going to do it, but it's going to shift into next year. So there's more time to prepare for it and learn about what you have to do for publicity and that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I am going to tour for them, and it's given me this incredible opportunity to refine several sets that I've been working on and the equipment that I need for it. And I'm using my guitar, which I've played live as a guitar, being processed in different ways. But now I have it hooked up in a way that I can, as I said earlier, I can actually play beam samples with it. Or I'm playing I have this wonderful pipe organ sample set. And so I can play the pipe organ on my guitar. And it's fantastic. It's so freeing because I'm not a keyboard player. I mean, I know simple things on the keyboard, but to be able to play a pipe organ with my guitar, the technology now is so amazing, the things that you can do,
Yeah. Wonderful. I would really love to attend one of those concerts.
Well, I hope you can.
But I won't be able to do the travel, actually.
No.
With
the family and...
Yes. It's a little bit difficult. I wanted to visit the US again. I was there twice in the early 1990s. I think 91 and 92 and 93. Actually visiting an ashram.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one? Where?
The Siddha Yoga ashram at the Catskills.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know them?
I don't know them, but I know of them, and I know of that ashram. Yeah.
So basically, back then Guru Mai Chitvilasananda was my guru.
Yeah.
Also, I thought, and I would love to be there too again. And I was a little bit they had a studio actually there, and there were quite a lot of good musicians around that movement that were doing slightly westernized versions of Indian ragas and kirtans.
Yeah.
But very tasteful, I thought.
Yeah.
And I could. I just had started dabbling in music myself a few years earlier, and I remember that wonderful little studio, and they had a reverb machine console, I think, with lexicon reverbs, and it was the first time that I saw that it was installed like part of the room. And
yeah, that's a good system.
Yeah.
Yeah, those lexicon reverbs I had, I think, starting way back at Continuum, the end of Continuum, I had the Lexicon 224, and then I had the Lexicon 224 XL, and then I had a Lexicon 480, and then a Lexicon 960. And now I have these, what are they, a PCM 92 and a PCM 96. And there's something about the sound of the Lexicon reverb that's just, for the kind of music that I like to do, it's just perfect. You know, big, it's spacious, it's wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes,
it's interesting. Guru Mai, was she? Was Muktananda part of the?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. I went to a darshan with Muktananda once in Santa Monica, and he had a restaurant there. He was there for about 6 months in Santa Monica, called Amarita, and I used to eat at that restaurant quite a bit. And and as I say, I went to darshan with him once there. Yeah, wonderful.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since then, and when I finally started to use the internet and made friends, like in other places, and in America, I got quite a few invitations to visit friends there, and I would have loved to do it, but we never had the money because my wife and I were always rather poor students, and later on when we had jobs, we didn't have well-paid jobs. Like I'm in the social sector now, which is a lot of work, but not a lot of income.
Well, it looks like you have, I'm just looking in the background here. Looks like you have a nicely well outfitted studio there. I see a number of keyboards and...
Finally. But most of it I got over the last, I think, 5 or 8 years. And most of the time I just had one keyboard and later one computer to do things. And but you could tour in Europe. How about that?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to do that. I mean, I think the only thing I've done, I've done eLive twice. Performed at eLive, and then I performed it at what's the one in Belgium called B-Wave.
Right.
That's probably the most recent thing I've performed in Europe was at B-Wave with Erik Wöllo, and that was great. Erik did a set, I did a set. There were other performers too, but that was a wonderful trip. That was the instigation. It was actually my wife's instigation. We were sitting at dinner one night, Erik and I and my wife, and she said, "You two have to do an album together." Yeah. So we did.
I saw Rich at eLive in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
It was the only time that I actually met him in person.
Yeah. That
was a great event too. So in which year was it that you played there?
First one I did was in 1996 or 1997.
So that was eLive probably.
That was eLive, and then I performed at eLive again in 2005.
I see, yeah.
Did different venues though. They were two different venues. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I didn't perform live in Europe again until the B-Wave Festival, and that was 2018.
18. All right. Yeah. I should have gone there. I should have attended that.
It was great. It was wonderful. I've done these music scores for Ron Fricke's films, actually 4 films. Chronos, Sacred Site, Baraka, and Samsara. And so for the B-Live Festival, I put together clips from Chronos, Baraka, and Samsara, 5-minute clips. So it was about a 15-minute section that it was in a big movie theater with 5.1 surround sound. So I put these, there was a big screen behind me, so I had them project these 3 sections, 15 minutes from 3 movies, and I performed live to those 3 films, those 3 sections, and it was fantastic. It's like it's the only time I've had an opportunity to do something like that.
Wow. Well, I can't think of so many things more to ask you about, but looking at the watch, I think we have had
covered a lot.
Covered a lot, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can cover the rest another time.
I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you very much for sharing all those stories. It was very fascinating. I really didn't notice how time was running. Yeah, me too. It's a pleasure to cast back and bring up all of those things which I don't think about normally, Yeah, I see. Yeah. So, all good wishes for the future. I'm looking very much forward to those releases that you mentioned. And good luck with the tour. Thank you. And everything else. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Okay. It's such a pleasure to talk with you. Likewise. So, have a great day. You too. Bye.